Hey, how are you?
I'm really well. How are you?
Good, good. Where are you from? You sound
Uh,
like,
I'm I'm from a little fishing village in Scotland called Anstruther on the east coast of
oh,
Fife.
oh, what a lovely accent.
Oh, thanks very much. You still got yours?
22, 24 years, not a trace of it's left me. People have say,
Yeah.
no, people say, oh, when did you get in? Like I flew in last week. I'm like, 2002.
Oh, bless you.
Because I've never left the studio in 23 years. Wild. I've been stuck in this place.
Oh man. Well, you've been keeping us entertained, that's for sure.
Good, yeah.
It's really great to chat to you. I mean, it's so kind of weirdly serendipitous as well because I just spent some time with Danny actually a couple of weeks ago talking
Oh, you
about the
did?
new
Yeah, how was it?
the yeah, he was on great form. You know, his
Good.
enthusiasm never wavers. It's
I
just
know. Like an
it's a
energizer bunny, isn't he?
it's a beautiful thing to even get 5 minutes in his
Yeah.
company. Do you know what I mean? But but what was great within that conversation and also the wider conversation around that film coming out was just really a beautiful way to celebrate your huge part of that first film and how your work on that made us all kind of connect with that original story.
Yeah, no, it was fun. You know, I think the beauty of I think what worked on 28 Days Later was we had no idea that we were doing anything that was remotely gonna be in any way successful or groundbreaking. When Danny rang me, I think he said something like, I just got to LA and I was finishing a movie here because I would go LA and then back to Liverpool and LA and back to Liverpool.
Yeah.
Still commuting at that point.
Mm.
And he said, look, I'm doing this zombie home movie. No one wants me to make it. No one wants to distribute it, and probably nobody will want to go and see it. You're up for it? And I was like, yeah. Oh, that's what he said. He said, but we can do whatever we want with it. And I went, awesome, I'm in. And that was 28 days later. So the whole process was just like, we were
Pressure's
just
off.
messing around. Yeah. At one point, the there was no music in it. It was just all sound effects because Danny had this idea. He called it detritus or detrius or something, where we just get snippets of audio, like bits from a radio, and we just scatter that around, in the air, in the ether.
Mm.
There wasn't even any music left. So I had like 2 weeks of just recording crazy bits off the radio and people talking, and it was awesome. But it
Mhm.
was like it made the movie so hard to watch because it was so visceral and so, it was just, we both loved it, but it was just too much. And one day Danny went, maybe we need a bit of music, just to soften the edges. So yeah, so it was great because we were just doing what we wanted.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I've got a wee show that I do here as well on a BBC. It's a streaming channel called it's Radio 3, but it's Radio 3 Unwind. And we were
Okay.
actually playing some stuff from Sunshine
Oh, yeah.
a couple of weeks ago as well, which was just like, oh, it's like weird. You've been like so ever present in my world, particularly over the last couple of weeks. It's been great. And then
Oh.
getting to chat to James about you as well the other day. So your ears must have been burning. How did you guys first sort of connect and work together? Because that's quite a few projects you've worked on together
With
now.
with James, yeah.
Yeah.
This is the fourth one.
Wow.
Um, well, it was funny. I mean, it's crazy how it works out because I think after Kick-Ass, I just retired. I,
Really?
yeah, I just said no more movies. I just kind of had enough, to be honest. And there was things, um, at home. I homeschooled one of my kids, and I hadn't really seen much of them, to be honest. And it was breaking my heart, and I just thought I've
Mm,
got to take a break. And it
yeah.
wasn't until I took a year off, and I was a teacher. I was a homeschool teacher, and it was the best year of my life.
Oh.
Sat with my son, and Molly was only a couple of years younger. So I got to be a dad,
Mhm.
which was like such a big deal. And when you see the effect it has on your family when you're actually not doing this job, 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
So I need to just have a bit more time doing this, you know. So so it ended up being like 7 or 8 years, I think. I mean, I was crazy busy, but I was doing stuff I wanted to do, and I set my record
Yeah.
up and my publishing company, and I was doing stuff, and you know, kids just keep getting interested, don't they? There's never a bit where you know, it's like, oh, now you do this, awesome, let's buy every Lego ever made. Oh, you're into this now, and Molly got into music. It was like, oh, amazing, right? I'm going to teach you piano. You know, kids just, you know, there's no end to them. So, you know, I had a long time off, and then we were moving house for the schools. You know, and we moved to Agora, and I just thought, okay, you know, I might have to go back to work soon. And I
You're into
thought,
too many things. I need
I know I was
to.
enjoying myself too much. I was being far too happy just writing music for me and watching football games with
Oh,
Lego and music with Molly. So I thought, yeah, maybe it's time. If anyone remembers me, it might be time to go back to work. And the plan was to just start, you know, because I'd finished with Kick-Ass, which was a big movie, and I thought, okay,
yeah.
went out on a high. But let's just, no one's going to remember me. I'll get a little indie film or a bit of TV and I'll work my way back in. And then my agent said, "Oh, this has just come in," you know, like a few days after I'd said I'm coming back to work, and it was Les Miserables, you know, and that was I loved, you know, Victor Hugo. I love the book. I've never
Yeah.
seen the musical, but I love the book.
Yeah.
That'll be good because that'll blast the cobwebs away, you know, like eight series, and I'd never really done television before, so we did that, and that was got me back into it. And then I thought, okay, let's find a nice little low budget indie movie no one's going to know about. And literally within a few days of speaking to my new agent, I get a call and it's James Gunn. And he's like, oh, I've been a fan of yours for years. And
Oh,
you fly to Atlanta tomorrow and come on the set of the Suicide Squad. And it was like, okay, well, that's that plan gone to hell, you know? A little, it was like back in the frying pan, you know? And that was it. That was, you know, I met up with them. I stayed in Atlanta, I ended up staying a few days in Atlanta and just watched them shooting these crazy, huge, big scenes. And
yeah.
so that was how I got back into it. I was trying to ease back in, but it just, when you get a call like that and it's James Gunn, you know,
Yeah, he's such weirdly, like with Danny, I think there's a similarity with their kind of almost childlike enthusiasm.
there's a lot of similarities. A lot, yeah. I mean, it's good you sort of noticed that. And one of the biggest similarities is, well, there's a lot of similarities between those two. You know, one of them is, you know, they're both very bold and brave, and
Mm.
they'll put themselves out there and do stuff that's different. But they're both very intuitive with music. That's out of all of the 60 or 70 whatever movies I've done, those two stand out as like they get it, you know.
Yeah.
They both really get how what music does to a story, not even to images, but to a story, you know. And they
Mm.
both really get
With
it.
with something like Suicide Squad, I mean that I can't imagine kind of where you start with something like that, in terms of the number of kind of really sort of bombastic characters that are within that, and the kind of the scale of it. But that's the great thing I think about what you do with your music is the music can kind of contradict that sometimes
Yeah,
deliberately, in terms of making it more personal, making it more emotional, making it much more kind of instinctive to maybe the kind of psychological, emotional sort of thought process of a character in a way.
yeah. I mean, I love. I mean, it's brilliant you would say that. I mean, I kind of love going there with that, but you've really got to have the trust of the director because you know there are two
Yeah.
very different ways of approaching a film score. One is the the classical thematic structure.
Mm,
The other is the like, screw it, let's just see what happens when we, you know what I mean, when we put that there, or we do that there, or
yeah.
we do that there. So, and with Suicide Squad, you know, what was obvious to me, because I read the script in Atlanta, they wouldn't send me the script because of security. So I had to sit in the producer's office and literally, you know, read through it. And, you know, two things jumped out at me straight away with how different the script was. One was that I could see the film playing in my head. There's something about James's writing that especially now because I've done 5 or 6 years with him. You're reading the script, but you're watching the film in your head.
Mm.
And what jumped out to me and made me think, oh, okay, we can do this the other way that I like, the non-thematic way, was that it was just so comic book, because that's James's world. He
Yeah.
grew up with that. I grew up with that in Liverpool. There was a sketchy little kiosk because I lived by the docks where all the sketchy sailors would go in and get whatever. But there was always a little shelf that had like comic books, and that was my introduction to like DC and Marvel.
Mm.
It was just how colourful and vivid the story was in Suicide Squad, and I thought you can't really do this in a classical way. You've just got to go, what's think of it like turning the page, and then you just as you turn the page, it's like bam with the music or so. And I
Yeah.
talked to James about this, and I said, why don't we just entertain, and then we'll see what we can weave together thematically afterwards. And he was like, do it, go for it.
Yeah.
So that's what we did in Suicide Squad. It was just, and I love working like that, because thematic structures, it's like doing math.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
get a new scene, I'm like, oh, I know, let's make that punk, or
Yeah.
let's make that. There's a shark looking at little pretty fish. Let's have a 60s French theme with a la 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 over it. You said about
Yeah.
juxtaposition.
Yeah.
But to me, that's cinematic,
Mm.
because I grew up loving the spaghetti westerns and Ennio Morricone. I mean, I don't know what my parents were thinking, but I was watching them when I was like 5.
Mm.
When you think about what Morricone did for that genre, you've got these spaghetti westerns in this geographically set in this place and it's set in this time. But then he'd have like Italian opera with like, you know, 60s electric fuzz guitar with South American panpipes. It was out of its mind.
Yeah.
It was like I had no reason to fit those movies, but
Yeah.
it just got the essence of it completely. And I've always loved that approach of like, well, let's forget that it's that, and it's here, and it's in this place. What musically could happen that would actually make the scene mean something more to an audience? And it's often not what it should be. It's often the mistakes and the stuff that you just grab out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And that was Suicide. That's how we did Suicide Squad.
It's so funny just listening to you saying that. I'm kind of, and what kind of my brain started to think about was Liverpool
Yeah.
and the creativity that's come out of that city, particularly musically. The obvious thing is to say is the Beatles and stuff, but
Yeah.
you know, like the La's, for example, one of my
Yeah.
favorite
Yeah.
bands.
Yeah.
And there's something about kind of the the bold nature of musical creativity that's come out of Liverpool and the imagery that comes with so much of that. And I don't know whether it's something that you've ever sort of thought about or think about in terms of whether how much being from Liverpool and that being, the place that you grew up has influenced how you write and what you.
I mean, massively, and it's not just the writing; it's the approach, or it's the attitude,
Hmm.
because most Liverpool people are just basically remnants of the Irish that came over in the potato famine and stayed there. We're like a little island in England.
Yeah.
We're proud of that. That's why we're all called Murphy or Riley or some. We're very proud of that Celtic thing.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, it's Liverpool's got the advantages of that influx of the Irish for sure.
Mm.
But it's also, it's a port town, so you've got the access to all cultures coming,
The
getting,
cultures, yeah.
you got that, but you've also got the fact that it's very, very working class. So you got people
Yeah.
who, will fight for what they want and so all of those things.
Tell great stories.
Yeah, like all of those things make a difference. It's
Hmm.
not just, oh, we've learned from the Beatles. I mean, yeah, the Beatles are what everybody knows, but I remember when I was a kid, getting out of school with me mates and going to Eric's, which is what the Cavern Club used to be. And you'd go in on like a Tuesday afternoon, and in the space of 2 hours when all my mates were doing, geography, we were watching like the teardrop explodes and like OMD, and then the Bunnymen at highlights,
Yeah.
but even though they weren't the big what they became, and then we'd go back home and pretend we'd been at school. And at the
Yeah.
time, you just think, oh, this is cool. But looking back, I'm like, why can't I remember more of this? Because that was
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
unbelievable, and the energy that city. It's because it's a very small city, but the energy it's got, and everyone trying to outdo each other. It was, it's for me, it's a mythological city. I'm from there, so I romanticize, but it was really only years and years later, and a long time after I left, that I look back and I go, how lucky was I
Yeah.
to have that culture like smashed in your face
Yeah, yeah,
with
yeah.
so much attitude and so much energy, and there's no way that hasn't played a huge part in just getting off my arse and just going, I'm going for it. I don't care. I'm going to Hollywood. I don't know where it is, but I'm going, you
Yeah.
know, because that's half of it as well, is just having the stupidity to just throw yourself in there.
Yeah, it's like kind of just going for it. It's like it's kind of glass half full attitude, isn't it? Absolutely. I remember we used to come up to the when I started at Radio One with we used to do a show with Colin Murray, who's from
Yeah.
Northern Ireland, and we used to go up to Liverpool every week to Zanzibar to this club
Oh, I know
and yeah, and watch like the
Zanzibar's been around
stands.
since the 60s.
Yeah, it was great. The bands we saw there, man, it was amazing. And they'd all end up jamming together and
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? It'd be like, oh, it was brilliant.
Yeah.
It was a
No, it
really
was
special
such a
time.
theme. Yeah, and then you had the
Yeah.
later one, like you say, with Lee Mavis and that with the Lars, and then you get another. It's like Liverpool's funny. Like it throws a load of bands out, and then it just quietens down, and Manchester does a bit,
Yeah.
and Liverpool will come back, and then,
Yeah.
but it always happens in like there's no straight line about it. It's like one
Yeah.
one band will come out like for me it was the Lars and the Real People, and I know those guys. Tony Gray,
Yeah.
very very big friend of mine. And there wouldn't be Oasis without the Real People. They
Yeah.
recorded them, they helped them,
Mm.
um. So it's yeah, I mean it's what it's an amazing city to grow up in, really.
Yeah. Um, Superman then. I mean, oh my God.
From Liverpool
From
to
Liverpool to
Superman.
Superman.
I know. Yeah,
I think he would
that
have
was an
ended up in
unlikely jump, wasn't it?
you never know, he could end up there.
Uh, that'd be funny. Yeah,
I mean, James has done a great job with this film. So many points to it that are just kind of you can tell that he how much he cares,
yeah.
uh,
Every
and how
detail.
much the details amazing, and the tone of it as well is really great. The casting is amazing.
Yeah,
Not just your Superman, but Lois and Lex. I mean,
yeah. Nick Holt. Wow, what a
oh my
massive
God.
giant performance. It's yeah, and such a
Yeah,
lovely guy too. I mean, they're
I
all lovely,
know.
but yeah, I mean, what I love about Nick's performance as well is as much as he's like the worst Lex Luthor of all time, he's actually really there's something really human about him as well.
Human,
He's
absolutely.
funny and he's sarcastic and he gets irritated with his girlfriend and gets a bit like insecure, and it's he just kills it. I always
Yeah,
like Nick Holt as an actor, but in this he's raised the bar, with this character. Yeah, I think he's
yeah.
phenomenal in it.
So what were the conversations then with James, when this was, when this was greenlit and he's, he needs you on board, he needs you part of this team to musically bring it to life. And with that comes that, there's a pre-existing sonic world of Superman, that
Yeah,
theme.
the
uh
theme.
well, the
I
theme,
know.
I mean, there's so many, but how do you approach that and how did you talk to me a little bit
Yeah,
about
it,
the whole
it took
journey.
a little bit of having a quiet word with myself. Because I'd done Suicide Squad with James and Guardians of the Galaxy, and it just couldn't have gone better. And it was, and I knew this was coming up, and I thought I couldn't, could I? Like, there was the stories of John Williams doing his final thing, rumors, and I thought it's got to be, it's got to be, it's okay. If you're gonna, there's nothing wrong with losing out to John Williams. So I
Yeah.
was like, okay, I was preparing how I would say to James, oh, listen, man, I get it, it's cool. You've got to, I was kind of ready for, you know,
Yeah.
saying like, I understand completely. And then the call came in, and I was, just trying to keep it together. And then when I put the phone down, he said, I'm going to send you the script. And I put the phone down. And I just went, oh my God, Superman. Because he was, he's the well. He was the first of the comic books. He was the first of the movies. It doesn't, when you grow up with that kind of culture like I did,
Hmm.
it doesn't get any bigger. So didn't really feel real. And then I sort of got in my head. I went, okay, just, you need to think now. You need to. And then I went, oh my God, I'm following John Williams. And then it was like another meltdown of like, oh my God, you know, with a certain person called Hans Zimmer, like, sandwiched in the middle. So it was like John Williams, Hans Zimmer, John Murphy. And I'm like, okay, okay, lad, and it was, what was funny was, I told my wife and she was like, oh my God. And we watched, a few hours later,
Oh,
we watched the first Superman movie. I
oh.
was like, I need to see if this is real. And came on. And I remembered it when I was a kid, and I said music by John Williams had come up. And me and my wife just looked at each other like, one of them. She was like, don't mess this up. And I'm like, so, but you know what? I mean, there's always a nervous energy at the beginning with every project because, they kind of tend to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
But, once you get going, then it's like, you know I always wanted to be a football player, and I always remember, like, football players saying you get nervous till you run out on the pitch, and when you're out on the pitch you just go into that other mode. So it was
Mm,
very much like that. Once I'd started, it was just get it done. But yeah, we had some great conversations, and I think when you've got the trust of the director, that makes all the difference. And he explained,
yeah.
how he saw the music in this. And he said, this I need this to be unlike any score I've ever had on one of my films. It's not going to
Mm,
have loads of cool songs. It's not going to have
mm,
it's going to have a thematic structure. So he said, but we can still play around with that. But there was a definite kind of reference laid down, and he was right to do it that way because we've got this huge history with the music as much as with the stories. So
mm,
you have to be respectful always.
yeah.
And when I knew it that he wanted me to work with the John Williams thing, that was with the themes. Then that's kind of a sacred theme, to composers. It's like, okay, I want you to go and play, but I want you to wear Lionel Messi's boots. It's like it was a bit like that. It's like, oh, okay. It was like working with something very, very sacred.
Oh,
But it was amazing.
yeah. What do you start? How do you start? Do you sit at the piano? How do you, do you have a starting point, in terms of you read the script, you take a breath, like diving
Yeah.
off the diving board, kind of into it. What's the kind of diving in point, or how do you dive in? Is it different every
Um,
time?
no, it's not. It just changed over the years. In the early days of, Lock, Stock and Snatch, I'd like beer, get the guitar on and watch the movie while I was playing and just
Yeah.
record it all.
Wow.
And I would just jam along and like not knowing what was going to happen next, and then just grab something else. And that's how I used to do it. It's a
Amazing.
terrible way to score a movie, by the way, but you do get
No,
so.
it sounds fantastic.
I would
That
literally be
energy of
jamming
the
it. Yeah,
live.
I would, as I would be writing and jamming as I was watching it for the first time, and that's how I used to do it. Which was a lot of fun, but and then over the years I learned how you're supposed to do it.
There's
Because
no
I never went to
rules.
music school.
There's
Yeah, and then
no
you start going,
rules.
oh, okay, so yeah, I don't do it though. But the way, and it was definitely a transition over the years. what I learned worked best for me was actually not to think about the music at all, is to just read the script and understand the
Hmm.
story. And then when I had the movie, I would watch it and watch it. But really, it was, because people say, "Oh, you write music to picture," and that's not what composers do. We write music to
Yeah.
story. It's all about the
Mm.
story. The picture is just another medium that the story ends up on.
Mm.
Oh, it's always about the story. So I just tried, I read and read the script, and they hadn't even shot it when he first sent it to me. And then I would just think about it and go for a walk and think, and then just let it, you just kind of absorb it. And
Hmm.
even when I'd want to write something, I wouldn't. And it was only when I felt like I understood, it was only when I felt like I was carrying the emotions of the story and I understood why Lex feels that way, or why Superman is compelled to do this, or why Lois is worried about the relate. You know what I mean? You kind of
Yeah.
absorbed all these things, and then and then I'll start writing in my head. I won't even pick anything up at that point. I'll just
Wow.
add things and just see what pops up. And most of the
Mhm.
time it's garbage. But sometimes you'll suddenly feel it a bit deeper, and then you'll hear the theme, like the Lex Luthor theme, just came in as I was thinking about it, and then I go back and then try and figure out what the hell it was. Um, because I'm a terrible pianist. I'm a better guitar player, but if I try to write music, I'm limiting myself to me limited abilities as a pianist, and I don't want to write with any limitations. I'd rather imagine it
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
try to figure it out. So that's kind of where my process got to, and that's worked better for me. So I kind of put off picking anything up
Yeah.
or guitar till as late as possible. I just try and imagine it all first.
And I guess as well, like you never really know how much music's needed, really, do you? Or do you?
Um, it's a good question. I think over the years you get a road sense of where it would work.
Yeah.
But I'm a big fan of only use music if you have to. I mean,
Yeah.
my favorite movies like The Godfather and movies like this, there's not a lot of music in it, because what you're
Mm.
doing, if you're using it all the time, it's different with superhero films because there's kind of an expectation and it's all amped. But broadly speaking, with movies, nothing kills a film more than just too much music.
Mm.
Because if you don't hold it back for when you need it, then you're lessening the impact of when it comes in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the best scores to me are the ones where they just let the film breathe, and then when
Yeah.
you suddenly hear that trumpet play the Godfather motif, or you suddenly hear the Jaws thing, or you know what I mean? It's like then it sweeps you up because you weren't expecting it, or so you know. But I could, I think every composer could do this, but I could read a script and kind of spot it, like
Yeah.
figure out where it should be within like about 98%, I think, of where it will end up, just because all I've done for the last 40 years, I think, you just figure it out. But I always, you know, I always question if something really needs to be there.
Yeah.
I'd much rather it, you know,
Is
waste.
there a is there a suite or a cue or part of the score that you're, I don't know, not most proud of, but that's particularly memorable for you for whatever
Um,
reason from Superman?
oh yeah, the one I did two of the themes in there I wrote with my daughter
Oh,
when she was at school. She was actually still at school. Um, and
wow.
that was great. Yeah, I mean, she wrote some stuff on Guardians of the Galaxy too. You um,
Amazing.
that's always lovely, because she's like brutally honest, and she's the only one that'll tell me when I'm rubbish. So, and I'd written this theme for Lex Luthor. It's the scene where he flies. Where Ultraman, it's quite early in the film, and Ultraman flies back to the Luthor Corp HQ, and then
Yeah.
you reveal as the camera pulls back, and it says, and then the audience knows, oh, this is where the bad guys live. And I
Yeah.
had this theme and I had a motif, and I was saying, how can we cool this up a bit? Because Ultraman's really cool, and the way it was shot, he's like coming in from the corner, and looks like a music video. It's amazing. And she just took it and just did this really cool trip hop track under it. It was like something Tricky would have done, only she's
Yeah.
Tricky, you know. It was like something off Maxine. I was like, dude, it's like, and then James loved it. So you know, getting to work with her was
Oh,
amazing,
that's awesome.
you know.
See,
And
your
she played on the
teaching's done
movie
well,
too.
hasn't it?
I know. Well, I was determined for the, you know, I had such an overt snobbery about not reading music that I was determined that she would have a chance to develop and do her own thing before. Now she
Mm.
can read music, but it's like for ages I was trying to hold it off her, you know, so it wouldn't squash her creativity.
Yeah.
But she played on the film too. She played the crystal bachette and the love themes, which is like crazy
Yeah.
huge instruments of glass rods, you
I
know.
went up to Cliff Martinez's place and
Yeah,
he
he's got
played.
one clip. Yeah,
Yeah, and he
he used it
played
on
it for
salon.
me.
Yeah. Oh,
It
it's
was.
next door in the studio.
Have you
Yeah,
got? Oh man, you got one. They're
it's next
amazing.
door. I know. It's the craziest instrument I've ever played in my life, and I got it for this movie. But when it turned up and we put it up, it took a day to build it, and it's all these, and it's a full size one too.
It looks a
Um,
bit like Superman's his house.
yeah,
If you
I
turned it
know.
upside down.
It's exactly why I wanted to get it. I'm thinking the ice fortress, the castle of ice. What can be crystal? Crystal. I'm like, hang on, what's that thing? Because I know Cliff. We've done like we have like a composer get together every few months, and there's about 10 of us all chat. You know,
Oh,
he's a lovely, lovely guy. And what
yeah, what a
he
nice
really
man.
scored on Solaris is like phenomenal. But the only one that could play it properly was Molly. So when we'd set it up and you dip your hands in water and you do the whole, and you know, she couldn't even stretch to the end of it, you know, and she was like, but um, but she was the only one who could really play it. So she ended up playing it on the movie, you know, and then went back to school. So
Oh my God, that's
yeah.
so brilliant.
I know, yeah. And she's just like, yeah, okay, you know. I'm like, you know, it's for Superman. She's going, yeah, you know.
Don't ever change.
I
So great.
know, I know.
Yeah.
Well, the funniest one when the head of DC, Peter Safran, brilliant guy. Me and Molly went to see a game with him, and I met David, you know, and you know, he's all in disguise. I mean, this was like a year and a half ago, and he had the beanie on and the big beard, and you know, but you could tell he was huge, and he had the eyes, so there was no mistaking. And I'm talking, and Molly's talking to Peter's daughter, and they're chatting away because teenage girls and that. And I said, Molly, you should meet David, and she just went, oh yeah, hi, and then carried on talking to Peter's daughter, and you could see his face, kind of like, oh, okay. And then when it was over, I went, you know who that was, don't you? And I went, no, I said, that was Superman. And she went, oh, cool. And I was like, but it was Superman. You know, I was more impressed than anybody. Like, but it's real, you know. And she was like, oh, yeah, you know. But it's
I
good to
love
be
it.
because it means, you know, you
She's
can't be too.
real.
She's real, yeah.
Yeah,
Really.
absolutely. And then just, in terms of like working with David Fleming as well, and stuff
Yeah,
and that's it been great to see David's work as well. I got the chance to actually chat to him
yeah,
with Gustavo when they worked together on The
yeah,
Last of Us,
yeah,
um, which was great as well.
yeah.
Did you guys
Brilliant.
work much together, or was that just kind of kept
No,
quite
it's a
separately?
shame, you know, because Dave came on in the cut and it was just, you know, we were in different places. I was working on different stuff. He was working on different stuff.
Yeah,
But that would have been cool, you know. With Kick-Ass, I got to work with Henry, you know, and that was fun. But you know, at that point, everyone's just locked in, working away.
yeah,
But you know, there are a lot of cues that I've got both of us in the queues, you know. Like the
teamwork.
end cue was a, you know, I had a guitar-y type thing for the very end of the movie when Lex is being led away. And then Dave came in and added these beautiful strings on top of it, you know, and there's bits where there's
Mm.
action stuff, and then he's using the themes from this. So, you know, it was, so there's a lot of collaborative work there. It's just a shame we didn't get to sit and have a beer together.
Yeah. Have you seen 28 Years yet?
No, I haven't, not yet. I can't
Uh,
wait to see it, but I
I mean,
really
I
want.
love that just when you're talking about, that original conversation we are having about Danny kind of, about there being no rules and kind of going for
Yeah,
it and stuff, and the support and the commitment he's given, like a young band like Young Fathers to kind of come in and
Yeah.
never scored a film before, and
No, that's great he did that. Yeah.
give them the support and the kind of encouragement to do it has been it's like it's so inspiring. Do you know what I mean in terms of that?
No, he's
How
great
he's
like that, Danny. I mean, he's brave. If he trusts his gut. That's what I was saying. Him and James are very similar. That
yeah.
if he thinks something's going to be better, he'll do it regardless of what's gone on before or what
Mm.
people expect.
And then just you because you mentioned Kick-Ass a couple of times, but obviously there's that Aaron connection as well, Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Oh God, yeah, because he's in it, isn't he? Yeah, I
There you
can't wait
go.
to see it. I know.
Oh, I think you'll love it.
Yeah.
What's next? Please tell me you're
Sleep.
not taking too much of a break
I'm
again.
going to take. It's going to be
2 days.
no way. No, I'm gonna, yeah, just a lot of chilling with the kids.
Yeah. And get ready for the next Superman film.
Yeah, I think I need a bit more sleep first. Yeah, Molly's going to New York. She's going to live in New York for 4 years.
Oh,
She got into Northeastern, so she's going to be leaving us soon. So I've got
oh,
6 weeks left, so I'm going to make the most of that.
how old is she, John?
He's 18.
I've got 17 boys, so I'm about to enter that world. Yeah.
Yeah, I did a good job of not thinking about it for
Yeah.
18, but now it's coming, so I just want to make the most of the time left in there. And my son's in Connecticut, which is not too far from where she'll be, so I
Yeah.
think I'll be like quietly in disguise moving to Connecticut or New York and you know, just checking in on the kids and make sure they're all right without them knowing me. I know when
Just need
I'm.
to constantly like bring her in as a collaborator on your
I
on every
know, I
project, and then
know.
you're laughing.
Well, we're working now because she's got to shoot some videos in a few weeks, and she's releasing some new stuff. So, I've got to, I'm lucky I get to sort of work with her and record her vocals and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just enjoy that, and then when she's gone, I'll sit and have a beer and go, okay, what do I want to do now? So, but
Oh
right now,
man.
family stuff, really.
Yeah. Get that balance right. I
You
absolutely hear
do,
you.
you need it,
Um, listen, it's so nice getting to chat to you. Really,
Oh, it's been great, yeah.
really, really lovely. It's kind of, yeah, I've just been, I was when, yeah, when the opportunity came up, I was like, oh my God, please. So I'm so glad that we could find the time, and I really appreciate you taking the time. And
No,
huge
it's been
congratulations
lovely, Yeah, thank you.
on this and everything. And it really has been lovely with, with that new 28 film being
Yeah,
out, how many people are being reminded of
yeah.
your beautiful contribution to that whole
Oh,
start of that journey. So it's lovely to revisit that
thank
as
you.
well.
That means a lot. Thanks. Means a
Yeah.
lot.
Have
Okay.
a lovely day, and I hope to see you
You
in
too.
person next time. Thanks so
I
much for
hope
your
so.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be
Take care.
fantastic. All right, Edith.
See you later. Thanks, mate.
See you
Take
later.
care.